Earlier this year, Animals Australia launched a campaign to halt legislation that would allow newborn dairy calves less than 10 days old to be starved for the last 30 hours of their short lives. Dairy Australia and farmers around the country immediately switched into public relations mode in an attempt to maintain the pristine image of happy, well-fed cows in rolling green hills. David Dawson is a senior consultant for an agricultural public relations firm. He was able to provide some insight into the nature of secrecy in the dairy industry.
All agricultural industries these days are almost hypersensitive about how their image is projected to consumers, and obviously the dairy industry is one of those. And this bobby calf thing is a particularly good example, or bad example, depending on your perspective, of animal welfare reality.
Since mid-January, a vicious price rivalry between supermarket giants Coles and Woolworths over milk has put further stress on farmers and subsequently on their financial ability to provide better care for their unwanted male dairy calves, known as bobby calves. Dr. Gary Mortimer is an associate lecturer at the Queensland University of Technology, specialising in consumer behaviour and retail operations. Dr. Mortimer suggests the price rivalry over milk will benefit consumers who do not think about the flow-on effects of their purchasing decisions.
From a consumer's perspective, it does tend to be a win-win situation. So not just looking at milk, also looking at some staple products across the supermarket shelves at the moment. There is some significant discounting going on, and therefore consumers are winning out. I think what we're looking at is a discussion around ethical shopping or ethical consumerism, where consumers will stand in front of that milk case and make a decision to purchase the lower cost and cheapest milk over the higher cost milk. Consumers in general are very time poor. They're very conscious of saving money. So I think consumers will make a decision based on what's right for them and their immediate family, and may not look at the bigger picture of what that might mean to farmers, the dairy farm populace, and also animal welfare.
Paddy Mark is the president and founder of Animal Liberation Victoria, an abolitionist organisation that is against dairy farming and milk altogether.
I would call that torture. To deny any animal food and water for that amount of time, it's criminal. We know there's things like incremental change, but we don't believe that these dairy cows should ever be taken from their mothers. To take a baby away from its mother is the utmost cruelty, and it's totally unnecessary because we do not need to suckle another animal. If the public want to have dairy products, drink milk, or eat ice cream and cheese, then it virtually means they're killing someone else's baby so they can suckle that baby's mother themselves.
Instead of the proposed 30-hour limit off-feed for bobby calves, the RSPCA recommends a 10-hour window for necessities like travel. However, 18 hours was their recommendation for an achievable balance between animal welfare and industry productivity. The Australian dairy industry is one of harsh realities, however, with calves enduring long journeys to sale and exposure to the unforgiving Australian weather. Dr. Elizabeth Bramley is a lecturer in production animal health and management at Murdoch University, and she believes that while there may be some animal welfare issues at hand, people need to be realistic about the life of bobby calves.
We don't have air-conditioned rooms for calves, and the calves are born with, hair on them and a level of fats, etc., surrounding them to be able to keep themselves warm. So out in reality, on a beef property, for instance, they could be exposed to cold, rain, whatever, and that's normal course of events. They don't house them every time a rainstorm comes along. We've got to be realistic in our Australian conditions as far as the amount of travel time to sale, etc. as well.
Numerous experts, industry officials and dairy farmers themselves declined to comment on this issue. David Dawson provided some explanation for this.
And it's of no surprise to me that dairy farmers don't really want to talk about it. It's a sensitive issue, and obviously dairy farmers are reluctant to talk about it because the more they talk about it, the more it becomes a public issue. So their natural reaction is to let their industry organisation, Dairy Australia, try and manage it in negotiations with the original activist organisation and other bodies like RSPCA.
The public are invited to sign a petition on the Animals Australia website to protest calves being restricted from food for up to 30 hours, and to encourage the Australian dairy industry to act with more transparency when it comes to the treatment of animals.